Good morning, WW Robinson. Today is January 15th, 2019. We are officially halfway through January, and I have Lacey here with me this morning. How are you, Lacey?
Good.
Did you enjoy your day off yesterday?
Yes.
Did you go play in the snow?
Yes.
Yes, I think we have lots of kids that went and played in the snow. All right, it is day 5 in our rotation. And Lacey, tell us what's for lunch today.
Mac and cheese, breadsticks, green beans, baby carrots, applesauce, and juice and choice of milk.
All right. Thank you, Lacey. Good job. We have Eli here this morning to tell us about the weather. So slide back. Eli, come right here in front of Lacey. Come on over. Can I hold this screen and tell everybody what's the weather today?
Sunny.
It is sunny. I'm surprised how sunny it is. It might melt some of that snow. What do you think? It's a little chilly, but I think the temperatures are going to get up a little bit today. Thank you so much. Good job. And we have Dixie here to lead us in the pledge. So please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Here you go. Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good job. Thank you, Dixie. Please join me for a moment of silence. Thank you. All right, let's see. I have birthdays. Where did my birthday list go? I lost it. Hang on. There it is. All right, celebrating a birthday yesterday, we had Karen Cruz Liel and Ariana Green and Leanna Wilkerson. So happy birthday yesterday. And then celebrating today, we have Cameron Miller and Parker Neff. So happy birthday to those folks. Hope everybody has a great day. And we have no staff birthdays today. So I believe we have a special guest this morning. So I'm going to let you sit here, Lacey, and you can be with Ms. Orndorff and find out what's coming up.
Yep, I have 2 quick announcements. One, for 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders in Science Buddies Club, we will meet tomorrow after school until 5 o'clock. Make sure you have a ride arranged, and tomorrow we will be meeting in my classroom in the 5th grade hallway, so it's something a little bit different. And then the second announcement, Science Fair is next Thursday. If you have not turned in this Just Checking In sheet, it was due yesterday, so check your backpacks from over the weekend and see if you have it, and make sure that you get it turned in to me today.
That is all I have. Thank you. I can't believe that the Science Fair is next week.
Yeah, I ran into kids at the store over the weekend, like Ellie Bartley, buying their Science Fair supplies.
Oh, yes. I saw on Facebook a couple kids working on their Science Fair project as well. So I'm anxious to see all these projects. Thank you. All right. Do you have any shout outs before we read this morning?
Mr. Ard and
Is that it?
mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're on chapter 3. When Principal Kreisky saw me sitting outside his office with my giant green helmet on, he stopped short and stared. Before he could get out a single word, my mom told me to wait for her while she talked to him alone in his office. I sat on the bench outside his office and pulled out a book about dogs my dad had given me the night before when he tucked me into bed. Does this mean I can get the dog? I asked when he handed it to me. Like your mom said, we're going to look into it. I did read an article about it online, and it's pretty amazing what these service dogs can do. I took that as a really good sign. While I sat reading, I also tried to listen to my mom in Principal Kreisky's office. I actually really like Principal Kreisky. He's tough, but I would categorize him under the heading of bark worse than bite. I think he has a really difficult job. He is the head honcho of a school that goes from kindergarten all the way to 8th grade, though the junior high kids, grade 6 through 8, were in a different building. That's a lot of kids to deal with on a daily basis. And this is his 15th year. So he's got that nothing surprises me demeanor. Plus, he drives a really cool turquoise 1964 Mustang with a thick black racing stripe down the side. It's just so unexpected to see him show up in the car because in every other way, he seems like a typical boring adult. It wasn't long before Principal Kreisky walked out of his office with my mom. This time when he looked at me, I could tell he was trying to keep his expression normal because he knew my mom was watching him. "Good morning, Benjamin," he said. "Hi, Principal Kreisky. I'm pleased you're out of the hospital and feeling better." "Not as pleased as I am. So, Principal Kreisky, if I had a therapy service dog, would I be allowed to bring him to school?" "Benji," my mom said using her polite but firm voice. "Mom, I'm just asking in case." "Well, Benjamin, of course, if you had a service dog for medical purposes, it would be allowed in the school because state law mandates that. Can you spell mandates and use it in a sentence?" Did I forget to mention that Principal Kreisky is a spelling bee nut? He won the state championship when he was a kid, but lost in the 7th round of the national competition of the word tonsorial. He spelled it Tonsorreal as opposed to Tonsorrial. In case you are wondering, the word means having to do with barbering your hair. Anyway, he's obsessed with it now, and every year he pins his hopes on some kid making it further than him. In 15 years of being principal, he's only had one kid make it to the national competition, Leroy Fencebetter. Leroy lost in the first round on his first word, spolator. Rumor has it that Principal Kreisky cried when it happened. Mandate. 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 I figured it was best to humor him. "I must wear this helmet against my will because of the mandate by my doctor and my mom." I could tell Principal Kreisky wanted to smile, but he looked over at my mom, who wasn't smiling, and he took his cue from her. Principal Kreisky has known my mom for a long time, so he knows as well as anyone that her bite is actually worse than her bark. "Very good spelling, Benjamin. Now here's a hall pass. You should run along to class." When my mom and I stepped out of the front office, I was relieved the hallway was empty. "Okay, bye, Mom." I half waved, but there was no way she was letting me off that easily. She pulled me back and gave me a big hug. "It's going to be better than you think." "I think it's going to be pretty bad, Mom." "I know, but it's still not going to be as bad as you think it is." "Well, here goes nothing. Or maybe I should say, here goes everything." I headed down the hallway toward Miss Blaine's classroom. I didn't turn around because I knew my mom was watching me go, trying not to look too worried, even though she was. If I turned around, she would give me her best fake smile. I didn't think I had it in me to give her a fake smile back. As soon as I rounded the corner of the hallway, I ducked into the boys' bathroom. I was shaking. I just didn't want to walk into class and have everyone stare at me and start laughing. What made matters worse was that my mom and I had cleaned out her car and we couldn't find my titanium lug nut. Now I didn't even have my Lucky Charm to calm me down. I was really upset about it, but I kept telling her that it was no big deal. Locking myself in the far stall, I looked at the late pass Miss Principal Kreisky had given me. It was 8:51 a.m., and the time he'd written down was 8:50 a.m. Assembly would be over in 9 minutes. I wondered if there was any way I could change the time on his note so I could delay the inevitable for just a little while longer. I looked through my book bag for a pen. I stared at the numbers. 8:50. Not much wiggle room there. The only thing I could do was change the 0 into the number 8, which wouldn't buy that much extra time. Well, 8 minutes was better than nothing as far as I was concerned. I put my backpack on the floor, sat on the toilet, and hung out. The bell rang, and soon the bathroom was filled with the sounds of boys doing bathroom stuff. I'll spare you the gory details. It was now 9 o'clock, and I had to head to class. It was time to face the music. Why not start in the lion's den? If I survived the boys' bathroom, I could survive anywhere. I stood up, grabbed my backpack, and then turned and glanced back at the toilet. Dina was right. My helmet was way too big to get shoved into a toilet. I put my hand on the lever and unlocked the door. Then I froze. I couldn't move. The twins always tell me I'm a big waffle. Well, technically they call me a butt waffle or waffle head, but whatever. They always say I could never be the quarterback of a football team because you have to make a decision out on the field in a half a second or less and do it with guys charging at you who want to remove your head from your shoulders. So what did it say for me? That I couldn't even make a decision when I was all by myself with no screaming fans, no time clock, no guys charging at me. I don't know how it's possible to feel brave and scared at the exact same time, but that's exactly what I felt like. Suddenly, while I was still froze, the stall door was kicked open. It slammed right into me and knocked me down. Uh-oh. I didn't know for sure who'd kicked the door open, but I had a pretty good guess. I was at least 90% sure it was Billy Thompson. The door slammed into my hand when Billy kicked it, and a shooting pain went up my arm. I fell backward and screamed. I guess all Billy saw was the giant green helmet because he screamed in surprise too. I just yelled, "Ah!" But Billy yelled, "Alien! Monster! Don't take me!" This caused complete panic in the boys' bathroom. Everyone in the entire school knows who Billy Thompson is, and when Billy Thompson sounds scared and yells, people listen. All I heard was screaming and stall doors slamming. More than a few boys called out for their moms. Pickles McGrew, who was in the next stall, even ran out of the bathroom with his pants down. His real name isn't Pickles, by the way. It's his nickname because it's the thing he loves the most. After Billy Thompson put all those crackers in his locker, a small group of people started calling him Crackers instead of Pickles, but it didn't take. Apparently, Pickles was so scared he ran down the hall straight into Mr. Trenton, the fifth grade teacher, who happened to be holding the winning entry of the fifth grade solar system mobile competition. Grace Park had just won first prize. She pretty much won every competition since preschool. Well, Grace Park's solar system never had a chance. I heard only 2 of Jupiter's moons came out unscathed. I'm just glad that Grace Parker wasn't there to see it. She was absent because she was the first chair cello in a string quartet, and they were out of town playing in the regional string quartet competition, where she was no doubt winning first place in that too. The good news is that when I fell, my head slammed up against the wall and it didn't hurt. Giant ugly helmet 1, wall 0. The bad news is though, I thought my wrist was broken because it was already throbbing. When Billy jumped back in surprise after seeing my helmet, I guess he fell backward too and hit his head on the wall behind him. When I came back, he was sitting on the floor outside the stall, rubbing the back of his head. "Hey, Billy, you okay?" I asked. I may despise the guy, but I can relate to anyone who's down. I held out my good hand to see if he wanted some help up off the floor. And for a split second, I wondered if when he accepted it, we'd immediately put all that bad blood behind us and he'd adopt me as a faithful sidekick from here on out. But instead of taking my hand, he actually spit on it, and then he kicked me in the shin. I stumbled, flew through the stall door again, and landed on the floor, narrowly missing the toilet. I was too stunned to speak. Where was this kid raised? In a barn? Why are you so mean? The words jumped out of my mouth, and I was pretty surprised to hear them myself. "Why are you so weak?" Billy replied. "Oh, I know, so you can go home and cry to your mommy." I was already down. Billy had already kicked me and spit on me, so I really didn't have much to lose. Plus, I was wearing a safety helmet. So I continued. "I'm not weak. I'm sickly. And that's not totally my fault. But being a jerk is definitely." Billy got up on his feet and stood over me. I shut my mouth. I squeezed my eyes shut and prepared for the pummeling I was probably about to receive. Note to self: trying to reason with a jerk can actually make the jerk jerkier. Luckily, someone came into the bathroom before Billy could prove my new theory. Apparently, Grady, the janitor, had volunteered to check for the alien monsters in the boys' bathroom to calm everyone down. He found Billy standing over me. "What's going on in here?" Grady asked. Billy answered before I could. "This helmet head freaked out and fell on his face. I was just about to help him up." I just stared up at Billy. How could he lie so easily? Grady was no fool, and he knew better than to trust anything coming out of Billy's mouth. So he looked down at me for confirmation. Suddenly, I was faced with one of those moments of truth you come up against as a kid. I could either tell the truth and hope for justice, or I could keep my mouth shut and hope that I didn't poke the bear and make it even angrier. I'd get out of 4th grade at some point alive. I guess I fell down somehow, I stammered. You know that expression you hear about how the truth hurts? Well, I figured maybe it wasn't the best day to get hurt any more than I already was. "Well, don't just stand there to help the kid up," Grady said. "You help him up. I'm late for class." And Billy turned and walked out of the bathroom. Grady watched him go, shaking his head, and muttered something that I didn't catch. But I'm sure it was something you're not supposed to say about a kid. I held up my one good hand. Hey, Grady, do you think you can help me up? I hurt my arm. And we'll stop there for today. So, you can choose to be the kind of leader that you would follow and make it a great day. So long.